Middleweight bout here, Nassourdine Imavov coming in at minus 140 against Chris Curtis, coming in at plus 140. Over under 2.5 rounds, minus 151 for the over, plus 151 for the under. This is the featured prelim, so the boy Chris Curtis getting left off the main card again. Poor guy. But I think they're using this one to get people to buy it as well, because this could easily be on the main card, and most people would like that to be. But this is a solid featured prelim to get people to, if they're watching the prelims, to be like, all right, I need to buy this main card because it should be a good fight. Imavov had just fought Sean Strickland, so teammate of Chris Curtis and co-host of their podcast. So they're probably going to have a good game plan on how to beat Nassourdine Imavov. But Chris Curtis is not the same frame as Sean Strickland, and he hasn't fought at the same high level that Sean Strickland has as of recently. But both guys are strikers. Both guys will get hit, and both guys can lay the hits. So kind of a similar style, but not the same frame. Right. And I think Chris Curtis has a little bit more power. I don't think he can put out Imavov, though. I don't think he's going to be able to crack him with something to put him out. Imavov's never been knocked out. And unless he hangs that chin out there, because he's going to be 6'3", a little bit taller than Chris Curtis. Chris Curtis can land that big left. It could change things. But I think Imavov should be able to stay at distance and kind of put the same thing that Jack Hermanson did on him. Like, they're both kind of similar frames, and they should have a similar fight here against Chris Curtis, who's going to stand there and wants to trade with you and wants to throw that left hand. And he's going to take shots too. He's just going to try to lure you in, bang, hit you with the left. If Imavov doesn't do that, he should be able to win this. But that's a big if, because he lost to Sean Strickland. And that's kind of the same style, as I said. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. Chris Curtis, man, he's interesting. Like, you look at his record, and out of all of his wins in his pro career, he's got 17 knockouts. Like, the dude has hands. The dude can crack. And we saw it a little bit against Kelvin Gastelum, who has a phenomenal chin. And Gastelum's hands were slick enough to stay in that fight and win it. But the one thing I think Chris Curtis could struggle with here is the size of Nassourdine Imavov. You mix in 6'3" with the athleticism and the movement. He's really light on his feet, especially in the first few rounds. And Chris Curtis is kind of, a little flat-footed, just kind of marches forward and hits you. But I think, like you said, man, Jack Hermanson was able to just circle out, point fight him for 3 rounds and get the win. And that's kind of exactly how I see this thing going with Nassourdine Imavov. Light on his feet, jump in, hit him with a 1-2, get out of the way, circle around and do it all over again. Frustrate Chris Curtis, because we see Chris Curtis just thrives in that close range boxing, brawling, and Imavov probably isn't going to engage in that too much. I think he'll respect Chris Curtis's hands enough to not put himself in those situations, and he'll try to stay on the outside. Like, we saw the blueprint on how to beat Chris Curtis without taking any damage when Jack Hermanson fought him. So, yeah. But yeah, Sean Strickland just fought Imavov. Him and Chris Curtis are boys. He's going to have the blueprint there as well. So it makes it pretty interesting. But overall, I just think the size, athleticism are going to get Curtis here. And I hate it because I want to see Curtis win. I like watching him fight. A lot of people don't like him, but I don't mind watching him fight at all. I actually kind of a fan of him. So but I got to go Imavov here, man. I got to do it.
Yeah, I love Chris Curtis, but if he doesn't have a different game plan than he did against Jack Hermanson, he's probably going to be in for a long night. But
I agree.
I'm sure he could look at that, and he has good coaches at Extreme Couture as well, that they should be able to put something together. So I'll take Chris Curtis, because that's my guy. But I'm not like super confident in it by any means.